For the city of Lamar, I'm Kirk Crespin, the mayor. Before we get started, I do want to say one thing. This past week we lost somebody in our community that was very dear to all of us. I think Beverly Augustine has been such a treasure for our community. She has done so much for our retail businesses downtown, and it was a huge loss. I mean, to me, she was our own private Betty White. I mean, she was just the greatest woman ever, and she's going to be dearly missed in our community, and she's definitely going to leave a big spot on Main Street that's left out. So, I wanted to take a minute to, pass on my thoughts and, wish well for the family, and, we'll let them know that we do think about her and that she is going to be very, very, very missed in our community. So, she is going to be one that's hard to replace for sure. So moving on, we do have a short meeting, so we'll try to get right to it. Tonight we have an invocation with Roy Griswold. Roy, would you do the invocation?
Our Father in heaven, we are so thankful that we can come to you, Lord. We do pray for our firemen, our police officers, first responders, for every city employee, Father. We ask, Lord, that you would be with this family of this lady that has passed away. And then, Father, that you would guide our city council as they discuss and make decisions concerning this city. Have your hand upon them, Father, for we pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Oscar, would you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the time is now 7:03. I'll call the meeting to order. Roll call.
Joe Gonzalez.
Here.
Mike Bellamy. Jerry Jenkins.
Here.
Kirk Crespin.
Here.
Oscar Riley.
Here.
Manuel Tomez.
Here.
Anne Marie Crampton.
Here.
Rob Evans.
Here.
Kristen McCray.
Here.
Lance Clark.
Here.
Okay, we've all had an opportunity to review the consent agenda. I didn't see any items that needed to be pulled aside. There was one check in there for me, but it was a reimbursement, so that doesn't need to be separated out. Was there any other items that anybody saw?
Make a motion to accept consent agenda.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to accept the consent agenda as it's submitted. Any final questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Joe? Thought I pushed it.
Unanimous in favor of.
Okay. So the next item on the agenda is audience participation. During this portion of the meeting, anyone may speak on any subject that does not appear on the agenda. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each, and it is at the discretion of the council. I do just want to let everybody know that's here in the audience that this is your time to speak. We're going to limit the amount of questions that are brought up during the council because we need to, keep the council meeting on track. So if you have any questions on any topics, now would be the time that you can come up and ask them. Is there anybody who'd like to speak to the council? Okay. Seeing none, we will move on. If there's anybody watching online, you can ask the questions and we'll try to address those during the miscellaneous items at the end. Next item on the agenda is the city treasurer's report. Kristen?
I don't have anything for this evening. If anybody has any questions for me, I'd be glad to answer them.
Okay, council, any questions?
I had mine answered earlier today, thank you.
Same here.
Okay. All right, seeing no other questions, we'll move on to the city clerk report.
Our December sales and use tax collected in January was $565,007.59, which was down 2.94% or $17,124.86 from 2021. And our year-to-date collections were the same.
Great. Okay, any questions for the city clerk?
I did have a question. It seemed like we had a spike in one particular category in 2020, which might have skewed
So
2021, should I say.
So we did. Actually, it went from 19, and then we had a big spike in 20, and then another big spike in 21 in that particular line item. It was a particular entity that did some upgrades to their business, which required them to pay an additional amount of use tax.
Okay.
So, thank you. You're welcome.
Okay. Any other questions for our city clerk? Seeing none, we will move on to the city administrator's report. Rob?
Yes, sir. Would like to talk about my coffee with Rob. I know that it's been successful so far. I've had a lot of different people show up, a lot of topics we're going over. It's kind of fun sometimes to talk about things that's not directly, results in somebody getting upset or anything. So it's been a good deal. Everybody's showing up, and I can see a little steam going off at these places, and they don't make it to here, so that's a, service rendered here. I'll be going to the pit stop on the February 16th and Rivals on the 23rd, and pretty soon you'll have a marked schedule. But I think I'm going to keep that going for a while. It seems to be helping out a lot. Anybody else who has a place they would like me to have it, a group type setting, they can come to me and I will work them into the rotation. City offices closed on the February 21st for President's Day. I almost missed that one myself, and I think they want me to show up one day on a holiday just to see what's going on here, but we're going to be taking some time on Monday. The next one is CIRSA training, new elected officials and refresher training for those who've been here. We've got CIRSA, and they regularly come down and do this for all the cities that are members, so this is something that should be recurring. It's something that everybody should be getting all the time. It's a service we pay for, so I've arranged for them to come down on the 28th. I believe this is one, I'm going to, probably get some food down here for you guys, and we'll sit down and talk about a lot of issues that it's good to know. And it's how we deal with citizens, employees, training, everything that you would know to be a good elected official. Let me see. Removal of the blue building. Real quickly, we've already started a lot, and if you guys want to jump in if you have some more information, but bottom line is I think we're halfway done with pouring of the foundation. We got the footing done. It will be ready for whenever we're going to move it. So, any questions about the removal of the blue building?
When are we gonna start tearing it down?
It'll be after we finish getting it ready to be moved, but I don't have a date. I will get that to you on what day we're going to start moving it, but
They've stripped down all of the interior.
all of the interior stuff, we don't have to
So
move
it's just
it.
the exterior walls that the construction company will come and move. But right now, they're trying to get the footer set and the concrete laid, so that way they can do it all at
So
once.
I thought we were going to tear it down, move it, let it sit there for a while.
That's only if we didn't have it ready, a place to put it. If we've got it all ready for when they move it, we're just going to put it over.
So are we on track to get this done before the next project that goes into there? Or are
We have to.
Are we crunching this
Yeah.
close, or we're gonna make it happen?
No, I think we're going to make it happen. I think we're going to be plenty prepared, and unless it happens like in a week or two, we're going to make it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, open records discussion. I gave you guys a little bit extra information in the packets there, and in case anybody had questions on what we have to provide when people ask for information that are stored by the city, I gave some additional information, and that will be also covered in the CIRSA training. So that's just for your own personal knowledge to have. If you have any other questions, you can call up here and talk to Linda and I, and we'll get you straight on what needs to be disclosed immediately and what times. Additional training for employees. Council's not the only one that needs to be updated and reminded of their duties. We're going to have some service-related training for all of the employees and make sure we're nice to all the citizens out there and not grumpy. And, we're going to let everybody know that we're here for them. That's why we're paid, and that's why we're public servants. So I want them to make sure that we're courteous to our people we're serving and not just doing it because we have to. And I have a miscellaneous here. If anybody has any questions or anything else they'd like to bring up, talk about?
I'd like to add, I know you and I had that conversation about the employees and, that really with the city, we are a service providing entity, whether it's sewer, water, trash, or whether it's law enforcement, public health, or public safety. You know, those are all service providing, and, you know, it is important, and that's why we have that discussion about making sure our employees are service oriented. You know, they're there to do a job to help support our city, and we want to do that and make sure that we're giving a good representation for the city. So thank you for doing
You
that.
bet. Did you want to bring up now or later at the end on miscellaneous about the hospital and stuff like that? You want to do that
I'll
later?
talk about that in
Okay.
my.
Rob, I got something to add, and if you would, can we use what happened to me as a training point so it doesn't happen to another citizen with getting the water shut off
Oh, yes, we can.
accidentally?
Well,
Yes.
on one of your, yes, we can,
Yes.
that will be a training point.
Please,
And that's the idea, is making sure we get all of
if they
those.
get the right addresses.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where are we at on the wage survey?
Interviews right now. The group is talking to department heads and asking for, you know, their concerns right now. They've gone as a group and now they're doing individual, and we just started today, in fact. We, and I don't know if you guys schedule an individual time, but we have time available for everybody to get their, and they're gonna have a group setting later for all of us to show up, and all of the employees, all the way down to the very bottom.
Okay.
What about the very top?
Well, that's the mayor, he's.
You bet.
All of you guys are gonna get individual
All of us.
interviews, every single one of you, so you'll get to talk to her.
Okay, anything else or any questions for Rob before we move on?
There's some reason you gotta bring them. I need to talk to them.
Do you want to, I don't know where you want to do that.
I think that'd be the time.
Now?
So, well, we do have the reports and correspondence, so if you have something from the community or a question from the community, or is it anything like that, or no? Okay. So if you want.
Yeah, you can.
If you want to go ahead and go right now.
We had a discussion today when we were talking about some questions about the meeting stuff tonight, about going forward with the city seal and going forward with that. So we probably need to engage with Martha. We need, you know, letterhead, and, you know, an envelope, that type of logo, including our city seal. And we'd like to progress on with the stickers on the vehicles and things like that, and get a plan put together.
Okay.
So we'd like to start working on that, get to a point where we can go out for bid for the decals and things like that, and get a budget for it, and make sure we're progressing with that, and not just holding up with getting it designed.
Yeah.
And as we run out of, you know, envelopes and different things like that, and correspondence, we need it on business cards, and, you know, and
So-
start promoting it as a new city look.
So part of the conversation Martha and I and Steve at the time had was using the seal for official city business,
Mhm.
and then our logo was just our logo, you know, and we were leaving the logo the way it was for just the trucks and everything else that we use. But for official business, for the stamps, for the, you know, using the seal. But we can modify that if the council wants to do that. But, and the other part of it that I mentioned with Martha was, you know, we really didn't want to just throw away all the stuff that we had.
Oh, no.
So as we're using it, if we have to order new letterhead because we're all out, or new envelopes, then we can start looking
That's
at,
what
you know,
we're talking
replacing
about,
some of
okay.
those out.
You know, we've all kind of talked about that we need an update.
Yeah.
You know, and,
Mhm.
you know, and stuff like that, especially on city vehicles and things that are out in the public, and just kind of promoting new fresh stuff.
Mhm.
So we thought maybe it was a good time to have that discussion and see what we could go
Sure.
forward with that. And
Okay.
if she could get us something designed that we can have on hand when we do order stuff, or, you know, each of us run out of business cards and
We
things
can
like
probably
that.
give you an update at the next meeting on where we stand, what not.
If you could work
anything
with her to
else
get a
done, but-
plan.
Yeah.
So we just, Mike and I thought it was a good time to maybe move
Yeah.
forward with this and visit with that.
Yeah, even if it's a plan saying, as we run out, we'll replace these sections or
But if
those.
you don't have anything to replace it with, you're gonna go back and say, oh, because it was easy. you know,
Right.
and stuff. And
Yeah.
So just where a good break's at to start phasing it in.
So I'll agree with Kirk. It was my understanding the seal is the seal and the logo is the logo. So I don't know if the council approved using the seal as the logo. You
No.
might want to.
So that may be the
Check that
next
box.
step, is that we need to come up with a logo that's, maybe ties in with it a little bit, or.
If the council wants to update the logo, we could do that as a separate project. I think it would be good to separate out the two, but that's, or we could use the seal as the logo, but I think the intent was the official city seal and then the logo of the city were two different things, and that was what we both understood.
No, I'm assuming the city logo is what we see on the trucks now with
Yeah.
the windmills and the train?
And then on the business cars and
You're
lettering
3
and
feet
all
away
that.
from the picket.
Yeah, and we can consider, I know Angie Q had brought in a new city logo and a whole design packet, and it was in 2019, she brought that, I believe, and presented, I think there was like 20 different options with different color schemes and different ideas, and they brought them in to have the council pick, but at that time, the council just wanted to leave things the way they were. They weren't real happy with the logos that were picked, but we could definitely look at that. I mean, that's not a problem. If that's something we want to look at as a rebranding. As you can see, I mean, we've done a lot of that here with trying to update our council chambers, trying to update the logo or the city seal and a few other things, so.
Just
I
a
think-
thought on that, if you don't mind, if we do decide to go with a different logo, you know, is a possibility that we can open it up to the residents to submit a drawing and then maybe let council pick through those and run through those and by vote, pick one.
Yeah, or get some ideas
Or
from the
break it down,
community.
exactly, yes.
Because I think, you know, as we're finding out with the school districts, getting a new logo or a new mascot is not, and opening it up for the whole community is not as easy as it sounds. I mean, because everybody has different ideas and different wants and desires and intentions. So they all mean well, everybody wants that, but sometimes we need to narrow it down and then give them the options from there. And maybe to start with, we could open it up for some general design ideas and then bring it back in to narrow it down and go from there. But we could definitely try it, work on that in the near future. I think it's worth looking at. What are your thoughts, Anne Marie?
Same. I don't think we're in a huge rush, but I think it's worth considering.
Okay. I know one of the other things that I talked to Martha about last year is we had a grant from DOLA for signage. And we had talked about trying to find a few themed signage so that, not to replace all the wayfinding signs all at once, but if we can pick out a theme from the council or an idea from the council, that way when Rick needs to add a new one for the parks or for the North Gateway Park, he knows what style to get. And we can start being more consistent throughout the city. I know on the Front Range and some of the mountain towns, you'll see that they have the old classic golden green signs that, more classic type, but they're all themed. So when you see it, you know there's a city service there, whether it be public parking or the new park or, a seating area. When you see that golden green, you know where to go, or that it's a wayfinding sign. So that was something I know Martha was looking into. Is that right, Martha? So hopefully you can bring those in and maybe we can talk about the logo and the signage at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it's worth more of a conversation on maybe trying to find a consultant that can do everything for us. I know we've played around with some designs in our office, me and Morgan, but I just feel like if we really want to do it right, I mean, we don't have to purchase everything all at once. But if we could find somebody that knows their way around like wayfinding and their way around like CDOT and stuff like that, because that all comes into play on what, how big they can be, what colors they can be. I think that would be really helpful than just us figuring out a design and that be that. But I feel like there's a lot more into play that we don't know about.
There are some certified city planners that you can hire out to do things like that.
Well, if you can find that out and bring it back, I think it would be good to mix those two together. If we're looking at rebranding a logo, we might as well look at rebranding with signage and future plans and just have more of a definite plan for community development. So,
I promise I'll keep it short.
well, we were trying to keep from answering questions from the
We'll
audience
probably do
tonight.
this With the time frame for the school board stuff going on with the mascot at the high school, it might be good to wait until that coincides so you could go up the high school.
Try to mesh them.
branding.
It's an idea, yeah, it's a great idea. Okay. Okay, council, do you have any other questions on it? Are you good with her bringing back some of those ideas in a report? We good? Okay. So we'll move on. The next item on the agenda is the reports and correspondence. Do we have anything, Oscar?
Why do you always ask me?
Because you're the most diligent. You do such a great job on it.
Zoning and planning met. The, what's the farm credit? Is that the name? Farm credit wants to be next into the city. They're across, the new building across from Walmart. When we gave them the permits, we told them we would zone them in. Once they met certain criteria, they've met all the criteria, and they would like to be admitted to the city limits, and the board passed that 100%.
Good.
And then the golf board had a discussion on dues, whether to raise the dues or not raise the dues. Well, they decided not to raise the dues at this time. I'll leave that open. You're gonna build a memorial wall for members that did outstanding, I'll say outstanding services to the course. Not necessarily money, could be time, but whatever. They're gonna set a criteria for that. The Lamar LPI, what's LPI stand for?
More partnership.
Partnership, Inc.
They're gonna have a tournament on the 6th, 11th of June. Yeah, that's what it is. Huddleston Butler donated $3,500 towards the golf course, and Gibbs Sprout family donated $2,000 to the golf course. I guess for their building fund. I don't know where it was going. Annual meeting and the Icebreaker Golf Tournament will be March 19th. That's it.
Okay. Anybody else?
I have some information from the water board, and the snowpack for the Arkansas River Basin is trending right at the median for the past 3 years, and so as long as we continue to get precipitation, we should be in a similar place that we have been in the past few years. Same thing for the water wells. Right now, they are trending where they have been in the past few years at this time of the year. So that's good news. I mean, we're not in dire straits there. Also, they are looking at doing a rate study. One of the reasons, or one of the things that they are finding is their employee compensation needs to be adjusted. And some of that, you know, I'd like to think that they could do some sort of a rate study on the cost. They can bring that up. They said they haven't had a rate increase in 10 years maybe. And before that it was maybe over 20 years.
Well, I think we did on commercial side of water.
We did on
We just did it,
residential.
we did on residential, not
We
on
went to a
commercial.
tiered system,
Okay.
which adjusted the rates. It wasn't necessarily a.
But our rates are some of the
Right.
lowest in the state.
Our sewer rates
Yeah.
are in the bottom 3%.
Yeah.
And
But-
so we're doing that rate study now for that reason. And they're going to come back with suggestions to the council through that rate study, which is progressing. They're doing constant work on that. We're all doing our input with
That's
that.
the master plan.
Mhm. And
So they'll do
it
it.
includes that rate study with Rufferton, so.
Okay.
Yeah, and so that
Part of
is
the dilemma they're running into is that, you know, a lot of their employees are required to carry a CDL.
Yeah.
And in order for, you know, them to be compensated with the CDL at what they're paying, you know, a lot of the
And so you're talking about actual water department
employees.
employees, and so
Right.
we're also working on that for
Yeah.
the water, this side. So-
Yeah, the salary study will bring a lot, and I think having that salary study come back to see how far off we are on pay will help guide the rate study as well. So I think they'll go hand in hand pretty well. Might be good for us to have that together.
That's all I had.
Anne Marie, you have anything? No PEP info? Nothing new?
I don't believe so. PEP president, did we have anything we need to report for PEP?
I heard there was a lot of good things happening with PEP.
Yes.
Along the lines of, you know, the PEP director and some of the executive council has been meeting, and I know Linda has done that, meeting with different businesses in an attempt to see what do they need to expand, what do you
Right.
need to retain, how do we retain these businesses here in Lamar, and how do we support them better? I know I've had a couple of discussions with a few of the members, you know, letting us know that that was happening, but,
Right. And really, it's Prowers County, it's, but yes, we're going to major, more in the industrial side, manufacturing industrial side to make sure hitting that population first to see what's needed, where they, and we've had some very illuminating discussions and really eye-opening, so.
great. Okay, anybody else?
Sure, Jerry does.
Jerry?
It's not, like, it's just a shout out to Matt Bizak and the Prowers County Youth Team or Youth Group. Council, sorry. He did get a building up the street here at 211 South Main and stopped by on Friday afternoon from 1 to 3, I think is what it runs. And this last Friday, he had 29 kids attend, which was awesome because he hadn't had that many. He'd had some show up at our office for when they do it. But here, the parents come in with them. They'll stay a while. They did cookies. They did paintings. They're doing artwork. He has a big screen TV and
Valentine's
beanbag
cards for
chairs.
people.
Yeah,
and other
Rob and
seniors.
his kids went, and they had a really good time. And also, the food shelter or the, what's
Sparrow House?
Sparrow House, thank you, did get the grant for the community garden. So they'll be working on that. So
Great.
as soon as I hear more from Matt and stuff, I'll let you guys know. But he's done a really good job with everybody.
Okay. Mike, Joe, anything?
Nothing here.
The only thing, I do have a couple of items. You know, one, of course, like I was saying about the PEP, that's wonderful. The PEP's doing that, working on that. As far as the city is concerned, I know it's been kind of quiet on some of the work. Last year, we were going gangbusters with all these different projects, and it kind of got quiet. But we do have a couple of contracts that are in the last form. We're expecting to bring those back from some developers within the next couple of meetings. And hopefully, we'll have some good announcements to make of some new developments in the community. So we're excited about that. We're excited to see these things continue to progress. And, you know, I believe it's kind of that funnel system. The more we put into there, you know, we only may get one or two, but we need to keep pouring them into that funnel to try to get them weeded out. So that's kind of what the city's been working on. We've had multiple discussions with potential developers, whether it be housing, businesses, or retail, restaurants. Just, we're open to any of these, and especially if it's a local business. If there's somebody here locally I've heard of, and it's amazing that I'm walking down the street and says, hey, did you know so-and-so is opening a shop? No, I didn't. So it's great to hear that there's a lot of our local people that are starting to work on entrepreneurship and opening their own businesses. We want to help them any way they can. So if you know of anybody, you know, have them get a hold of the city and we'll see what we can do to help. But we'd love to see our community grow. In addition, I was going to say, in addition, I had mentioned a couple of meetings ago that I have been meeting once a month with Karen Bryant at Prowers Medical Center. We had another meeting yesterday. It was a very good meeting. It was good to hear about all the changes that they're making. They do have a lot of potential changes on this next spring with 3 directors that are on the board that are going to be leaving, and they have to refill those positions. So there'll be some changes on their board of directors. But they are still working on the MRI unit suite that they've been working on, which was a huge investment for the hospital. They are still moving ahead with bringing the OB department back in, and they're trying to recruit new doctors. So everything is positive. It's still moving forward. You know, it's been great to have that conversation with her, so that way we know that we're communicating within the community as far as community leaders and the owners and CEOs. And we want to continue to try to do that. I know I haven't met with Linda Lujan yet, but that's something I wanted to reach out to for the same reason. I think the more we all reach out and understand what we're trying to do, it's easier for us all to start swimming in the same direction when we know what we're working towards. So we'll definitely keep working on that. Karen did show interest in joining us with Pryor's Medical Center, joining us in if we were to do one of these evening outings like we did last summer, where we served hot dogs or gave hot dogs. If we decided to do one, she did talk to her senior management, and they were interested in going with the city to do one of these community events. So if that's something the council would be interested in, we'll continue to have those talks, or I'll bring it back when we get closer to the summer and spring. Is there anything else I'm missing there, Rob?
No, I was good.
On my report? Okay. All right. Go ahead.
I forgot on the reports, we discussed Langston Heights subdivision.
Oh, yes.
That's SECCEDD, whatever
It's
it
good.
is. There's too many acronyms. Anyway, which were their preliminary plot layouts, and we approved that, and they have to do the, I forget whatever, it's kind of a plot. So the zoning and planning approved that also.
Great.
Okay, I'm done.
Okay. Yeah, we have a lot of great things happening in our community. You know, it was a discussion we had when I met with the mayor out of Lahana about, and we drove him around town and showed him about the soccer field and North Gateway Park and the new housing developments and all the great things that we have happening. Even with some of the efforts we're making for infrastructure, whether it be the water, wastewater, water, or working on our master plan. We're receiving the new EV chargers that'll start going in the next few months. So there's a lot happening. I think you'll see a lot more movement in the next upcoming months, but it's great for our community, and it'll help us grow in the long run. So excited to see that happen. I do want to, before we go, I do want to reiterate for our community, please, 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 if you want to know what's happening in our community, the council has been trying our hardest, whether it be these picnics, coffee with Rob, the council breakfast once a month, we have our work sessions. We've tried to give an opportunity for everybody to meet with us, even with our Facebook. If you have questions or concerns, sending us a message on Facebook, sending us a message directly. We want to hear what you have to say. We may not always agree, we may not always be able to act on everything, but it's good if you want to get the information on what's happening in your community or why the decisions are being made, to get that information, or attend these meetings as it is tonight. So I'd like to encourage you, if you would like to get more interested and involved, keep in touch with us and we'll try to get the information pumped out. All right, next item on the agenda is appointment to the Library Advisory Board. This was brought in by Sue. Would you like to come up and speak about this?
Hello, everybody. So Judy Arnold's term ended on February 1st, and she would like to renew her term. We did run an advertisement for the position, of course, and there were no other applicants. But Judy Arnold, she's an amazing volunteer for the library. She works for the Friends. She supported us as a library advisory board member for many years, and the board has also recommended that she be reappointed.
So moved.
Thank you.
We have a motion and a second to reappoint Judy Arnold. Are there any final questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Unanimous in favor of?
Okay, thank you, Sue.
Thank you.
Next item is T-shirt bid for the recreation program. This is brought in by Rick Akers. If you'd like to come up and speak about that, Rick?
Good evening, council, Mr. Mayor. This is our annual T-shirt bid. We go out once a year. It covers the whole year for all of our programs. We advertised, we only got one bid, so we're recommending that we approve the bid to J&S Graphics, who's been the successful bidder since 2019. And attached is all the bids, what they bid, so. And if it's approved, we are going to try to open it up, so if there's any more, not just for the rec programs, but if there's any more, anybody out with the city, a city department that wants to get T-shirts or whatever, they can work off this bid.
I make a motion that we award the bid to J&S Graphics.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to award the bid. Any final questions?
You put the date on the shirts?
You like what year, so you know when it was you did it?
Yeah.
It depends.
So if
Sometimes no, sometimes yes.
If you don't, if you got leftovers, you can use them the next year, that's my only.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you, when I first started, we used to try to pre-order shirts. And we had a lot of shirts left over. We were spending too much money. So now we don't order the shirts like for a basketball that's going on right now. So we have deadlines when they have to register by and everything, and on that, they put their shirts, so we order exactly what we need, so we don't have the waste.
Okay, that's good.
The only question I have is the bid, that was published in the newspaper? Okay,
Yeah.
that's the only question I have.
Okay. Any other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Unanimous in favor of?
Thank you, Rick. Okay, the next item on the agenda is Lamar Community College Foundation request for assistance. This was initiated by Anne Marie Crampton, but it looks like we have some representatives from Lamar Community College as well. Would you like to come up and speak, or Anne Marie, would you like to lead this conversation?
I will say a few words, and then Linda and Dr. Lujan and Chad DeBono are welcome to speak on behalf of the college. So the college and foundation have partnered before to increase student housing on the college campus with Prowers House, 32-bed facility built in 2016, if I remember correctly. We've outgrown that, and to grow in addition, including to make sure that the Escondido soccer fields are well used, we need additional housing. The college and foundation have a strong partnership together, and so we've gotten the opportunity to look outside the college campus where, for pre-existing property where we can maximize our potential, and I would love for them to say more.
Well,
Yes, please, if you would. That'd be great.
come up.
Chad's being shy.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, council, guests. We are so excited that the Lamar Community College Foundation believes in the college vision of adding soccer. It's been a college goal since 2017, and we had some money set aside to help us. But our partnership with the city on the fields really helped us zoom forward. So then we started looking at housing. Building new housing was out of reach. State doesn't fund auxiliary accounts like student housing. So our foundation put its head together and said, let's repurpose that motel. And now that the foundation owns it, they're realizing, in addition to the funds they've raised and the money the college has contributed, we need help in getting to that finish line. We're asking for city support in a variety of ways, from helping to roll off trash to perhaps contributing some paving effort if foundation can buy the asphalt. We've got a long list per the letter of items that could be helpful. You may have ideas that we haven't even considered. So we're really excited because soccer is the fastest growing sport besides esports in the world. And we know youth soccer in Lamar is growing. We know soccer tournaments bring families and money and revenue. And we are just excited at the opportunity to grow the college enrollment through soccer. We value the partnership. We hope we've been a good partner to you. You've been to us. Anything we can collaborate on is greatly appreciated. What did I miss, Madam Council Member?
I think the only thing that I'd add is that we don't expect this to be a soccer dorm. It will be additional student housing, and it will be offered to all of our students.
Correct.
You're just expecting a larger increase because of the soccer program.
Correct,
As
yes.
well, yeah.
Yeah, and in ordinary years, we fill housing and typically have to rent motel rooms in fall semester. So the need existed before soccer, but soccer really helped to zoom forward. And it's a very unique solution. I think we have opportunity to promote the creativity of the Lamar Community College Foundation, the partnership with the city on the soccer fields, to really help other rural communities and colleges think about how to approach a problem like this differently. So kudos to Foundation. They are separate and unique from the college, and could easily have said, nope, no thanks, but they're all in, just like us, just like cities, so thank you.
Great. I know for us at the council, I just wanted to talk to the council a bit. In the past, we've had other organizations come in and ask for waiving of permits and waiving of fees, and it's always a very touchy situation because it's hard for us to stroke a check, so to speak, to help pay for these developments. But there is a lot of in-kind work that we can do that's not taking out of the tax dollars or taking out of our non-budgeted items. And some of this is, in-kind work that we can help with. And that's kind of what I had asked Rob to look into to see what we could do with in-kind work, because a lot of times the permits that we are required to get for building permits are pass-through expenses. We have to get the state to come in and do a lot of the inspections, especially with commercial buildings. Or we have to get different architects or designers to come in and double check the work. So a lot of those expenses we can't necessarily waive, so it's difficult for us to do that. But what we can do is help on some of the in-kind work that we do, and Rob, I'll let you talk about that since you handed this to us.
Well, I did give some additional information to the council members. I just, I'm totally for this kind of help, but I just want to put one word of warning out there is in-kind work is a really neat way of giving extra work without writing a check, but you have to be careful. And I'm sure Treasurer will know that those funds that we give these in-kind work hours to are supposed to be self-sustaining and pay for themselves and things like that. So the more you give away in these type of in-kind contributions, it makes it harder to balance. Isn't that correct?
It still comes out, it's
Yes.
just not direct, it's indirect. So it can add up, right?
Yes, it does. It does. But I gave you some talked to my department heads, and they said that, yes, I would like to break it up into a couple of phases. First phase are stuff that we can do really easy, and I can tell the guys to do it, and we'll have to, make sure everything balances. But bottom line is there's a lot of stuff that was asked for that we can do without having to write checks for. Now, the checks may have to be written later, but right now we can work on it without giving cash money on some of these things. There's going to be more detailed plans needed to do some of the work, like it's possible that we bulk order some materials to save a little bit more money, and how many, somebody needs to do the plan and figure out exactly how much we're going to need, and our guys are good at working on those things, and they've done it in the past, and we can do it again.
And some of the improvements, to interject, we did get a grant for new sidewalks from the college to Park Street. So as CDOT comes in the spring to complete their work from Park Street to Savage Avenue and repave all of that with concrete, we'll also be working on doing new sidewalks from the college to Park Street. And they'll be handicap accessible sidewalks. So that's kind of part of it that we'll be able to help in the front side of it, helping with the beautification of the building or the frontage. So that'll be part. But what was your proposal to?
Well, I was going to, get council's, direction, guidance, leadership. Do we want to go ahead and go forward? I was going to ask for you guys, maybe not to make a decision right now, but I gave you some of the information about what it would cost for us to do this phase one type of help. And
So like on the firewall you're talking about, could the copper program do some of that work?
Well, they're committed to working on houses right now, so they really cannot, unfortunately.
Well, we had a list here of like
Yeah,
fence
there's-
removal, driveway removal.
Your list is mostly all in kind.
Right, the first phase would be in kind. I wasn't gonna ask for money to try and go and do this any other way. If it would be, if you guys want us to figure out, go into budget and figure these types of things out.
We have set aside some money, in the street department and the water department for development, and so I think this is probably something that would fit into that. So we can also look at that, and I can point that out in the budget more specifically, where that's at, but we've set aside, we've actually budgeted money. for
I think that
development.
should be in a work session of some type, right?
Exactly.
No.
Okay.
Or, I
So
don't know, whatever.
what I'd like to suggest is that we move forward, make a decision on this in-kind work tonight and give them something to look forward to.
Now, what's presented in front of us, if I may, is this the first phase? what you're
Yes, that's
talking about?
first phase.
That's the first phase,
That's the
okay.
stuff that I can get them started on immediately.
But I do have questions.
Uh-huh. Sure.
So on here, on the second one where it says driveway remove, curb, pour, apron, we're wanting to remove the curb, pour the driveway in apron. Who's gonna pay for the concrete on that? Is that gonna,
They're
are we
paying,
gonna,
no. This is, for us to do the work, we have to get materials donated to us in kind.
oh, okay. All right, so then the next one I had was something about curb. Is this curb out on the streetway, so the CDOT's gonna take care of that anyways?
That would be part of that grant.
Right.
That would be covered in the grant.
So this is not something that we actually.
No, we would still have to do, remove our curb portion of it, but CDOT would be us building it back the way it needs to be.
So I'm wondering if this isn't Row Avenue, because there was a question about whether we would be able to have a second entrance off of Row Avenue.
I'm sorry, I don't know on this
Okay.
one. I don't know about Row
The west side of the complex, correct?
No, there is one.
North side.
It would be the north side. Yeah.
North side, on Row Avenue going west, off of Main. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Right now it has just a wooden fence. That's where the wooden fence comes in, the fence from.
Okay. Well, council, do you want to continue to allow Rob to work on this in-kind stuff to help, with the assistance? Or do you want to come back and redecide on this or discuss this later? How do you want to address this?
I think we should approve it. I just need to know the landfill cost. It says landfill cost not included. Don't we own the landfill? So what cost would there really be if we're doing in-kind work?
Well, we're keeping track of what we're.
So we would just absorb it?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to just go ahead and approve all this and get it over with. Let's just get it done.
Well, we can make a motion.
Is that a motion?
Gotta make a motion.
Oh, do I have the roll-offs listed here?
No, there's no roll-offs in there. I already
Okay.
looked for 'em.
Well, that's another one that we have to keep track of and make sure that, how much, that's something we own again as well, and it would be a cost to
So we
us.
need to add roll-offs to
Roll-offs to
both
it.
of these or just the first one?
Just the first one.
Because it looks like we're gonna use dump trucks to clear out the trees and cut the trees down and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so just on the
That's
first
Rick
one,
and his
roll-offs.
Well, we don't want to, we're not trying to compete with any of our community members by any chance, by any means at all. That's not our intent, but we do want to help support, the college. So that's kind of a fine line that we're walking here as far as trying to support the college project, but not trying to take away from our local businesses. So, but by doing this with some of the in-kind work, with the roll-offs, that's ours anyway. So that's not taking anything away from the private businesses. But, so I just want to clarify that that's not our intent by any means. But Mike, if you want to make that
I think there's
motion.
plenty of tree trimming that needs to be done around Lamar, that this is not gonna affect the tree trimmer's business
Okay.
too awful much.
Okay, well, if you want to do the motion on this first part, we can get a second and make a decision.
I don't want to interrupt again. This is one of those things I was mentioning before. As an enterprise fund, they have to be self-sufficient. If you take in, we're going to be taking costs on there, and for them to be they're gonna be losing their revenue that they normally would have got from anybody else that's taking that.
Yeah, we're talking about the trash
Mhm.
service, okay.
We'll have to get the money from somewhere to make sure that they balance.
Well, we can just give you direction to work with Linda and Anne Marie to try to see what we can negotiate out and bring back more of a formal proposal that we can make a decision on.
On the
And that way
roll-offs.
you can work with Kristen and make sure we have it within budget. And if you could do that, rather than us trying to make a rush decision tonight, let's just bring back more of a formal proposal.
With the roll-offs, you could do the rest of it, I would imagine, but.
Yeah, I think
the
that's a
roll-offs.
great plan. Let's just approve all this and we'll go back to the roll-offs.
Okay, we could do that.
So it's not expecting.
The roll-offs would be. So we'll leave the roll-offs and just do what you have in this proposal here. All right, Mike?
So what's the total?
Well, if you do both of them for the parks, it's 6215 and 5844, $8,059 or something.
So did we have this on 11,000?
Oh, yeah, 11,000, what did I say? It's $12,000, just about.
In in-kind work?
6 and 5, yeah.
So we would be authorizing 12,000 in in-kind work.
I make a motion that we authorize $12,000 in in-kind work according to this documentation to the LCC Foundation.
Second.
Rick?
Okay, we have a motion and a second to authorize up to $12,000 in in-kind work to help assist the LCC Foundation.
Can I just add one more comment? One thing that I failed to mention, in this project, the improvements that are being done are 100% fundraising or reduction of costs. So just to make that clear that there's why we're asking for this support.
All right, are there any final questions?
How many students do you house in the new addition?
So we're looking at 40 to 60 soccer students, along with currently about 215 other students in housing. As Anne Marie mentioned, it may not be the soccer students in the motel, it might be adult nursing students, for example. But at a minimum, we'd be adding 40 to 60. When the property is completely built out, I believe capacity is 80?
75.
75.
Thank you.
All right, any final questions from the council? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
We have council members Bellamy, Gonzalez, Jenkins, Riley, Temez, and Mayor Crespin voting yes, and Councilmember Crampton abstaining.
Okay.
Thank you. On behalf of the students and faculty and staff and the foundation, we appreciate the friendship, the partnership, collaboration. Thank you.
Thank you.
Education is key.
Okay, that was our last item on the agenda. The council had asked about having some information and reports from the different departments. If you'll see at the end of our packet, we do have the utility revenue report. We have sales of water, sewer, and garbage report. So there are some reports in here if you want to review those, and feel free to ask any questions. It is good information to know. So aside from that, were there any questions on Facebook that we need to address? We did have one miscellaneous item that I wanted to bring up. We received an email today. Sorry, it's taking me a second to bring this up. We received an email today from CML. CML is the Colorado Municipal League. And in the Colorado Municipal League has been keeping an eye on the different things that are happening up at the state level. And one of the items that they're discussing at the state is how they determine about pay raises and salary studies and things of that nature. You know, this is a situation that the city of Lamar is addressing with our own salary study. And as a home rule charter city, we take that responsibility on, and we make our decisions locally. We don't allow the state to come in and tell us this is what you should be paying, and this is, you know, this department or that department. Well, this new bill that they're trying to pass basically will take away some of that leverage for us to manage it ourselves. So CML was encouraging all the communities and municipalities to send a letter to their representatives to state that we're firmly against this, and that, you know, we feel that we, as a home rule city, we should be able to have the right to determine our own wages and how we take care of our employees. And that was something I wanted to bring up to the council to see if, as a council, we wanted to send a letter to our state representatives as a city. I know sometimes I've done letters of support or letters of response as the mayor, but I think it would be much more powerful if all of us as a council was to join in on this and express our concern about this.
I think it's a great idea.
Yes.
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 I agree.
And you're good, Mike?
Yes, sir.
I know you already called me about it. So, well, if that's okay, I'll work with Rob and Lance, have Lance review it just to make sure it's okay, but we'll work on something and get it ready and we'll send it out. I just wanted to get direction from the council.
So this will probably be like a one-page thing, because I know you get politicians with more than one page, then.
No.
Yeah, it'll be one page, one pager. So we'll bring that at the next meeting, and that way we can do a formal vote on it, but giving us direction, if everybody wants to do that, we'll move forward.
6-5.
Okay, any other miscellaneous items? Seeing none,
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
we have a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Unanimous in favor of?
And that is the end of our meeting. Thank you for joining us tonight. We hope to see you at the next